What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I just watched a great interview with Bob Arum, CEO of Top Rank, who also helped get this mega fight done with Mayweather and Pacquiao. Now, some of you guys really still to this, you're content arguing and bickering in the comment sections, the Pactard and Flomo stuff, but I really feel some people are underestimating. They're letting the emotions and how the fight's going to play out, they're letting that overtake, and they're not realizing how big and how colossal of an event this really is and what it means for boxing. And I'm really happy. So, in case you haven't seen the interview with ESPN, shout out to ESPN. I was actually very impressed with Bob Arum. Bob Arum was very professional. He spoke very even. It was almost like a different Bob Arum because everyone has their faults. I've seen Bob Arum in the past when it was regarding Mayweather or Pacquiao. He didn't have anything favorable to say about Mayweather. Obviously, that's not the guy he represents, etc. He was very candid and honest in this interview. So the things he talked about, he said Les Moonves was very instrumental, as I told you guys before, in handling this. He said there are some broadcast issues, and him and HBO and Showtime, I guess they sat down. He says within 12 minutes they had it all hashed out, and most of the major issues were no longer issues. He found solutions. So shout out to Les Moonves. He also said this is the greatest ticket demand that he's ever seen for any fight. He says he's been offered by obviously like the big tycoons, the big wigs, one of the ballers. He says he's been offered 100K for a seat because they just want to be a part of it. He says he goes into a restaurant, goes down the street, people are talking about it. People who have never cared about boxing a day in their life, they're interested in this event. He also says the Miami Heat game was very helpful in the negotiation process, having that face-to-face meeting with Mayweather and Pacquiao. And here's a quote from Bob Arum. He says, "We have to do the math. After adding everything, I think the amount of money to distribute will be about 300 million in the pot. 60% for Mayweather, which is 180 million, and 40% for Pacquiao, which boils down to 120 million." So in Bob Arum, who's been in the business since the Ali days, his forecast based on this type of event, and I'm assuming the response he's getting, he's suggesting his forecast is that after everything's said and done and everything's paid off that needs to be paid off, $300 million will be left in the pot, which is astronomical for any boxing event. This is by far the biggest fight in boxing history, if that is the case. And he also goes on to say that he believes this fight will generate 4 or 5 million pay-per-view buys. And that's a bold claim because the current highest selling, Oscar De La Hoya versus Mayweather, that did 2.4 million pay-per-view buys. So, I mean, that's like double. That's basically double, but I'm excited, man. I'm elated to see this fight finally happening. We get a decision, we get a conclusion. Pacquiao and Mayweather are this generation's best fighters. They've weathered the storm, the test of time. They've dealt with adversity, tough fights like Castillo and Cotto and Emmanuel Augustus on Mayweather's side. Pacquiao, he bounced back from a knockout from Marquez. He beat guys that he wasn't expected to beat, the Barreras, the guys like Eric Morales. He had a tough fight and a loss in the first fight. Came back and showed you that the first one was close for a reason, and it was a fluke. It was the cut in his eye in the first fight, which is why he didn't win. And he showed you that in the rematches. And Eric Morales, he just couldn't do nothing with him. So both guys have an illustrious career. I'm really excited and happy to see them getting paid, and ultimately the fans. That's what it all boils down to for me, to see the fans happy, to finally get closure and the spotlight back onto this sport. So this is all good. And like I said, I really like how Bob Arum conducted himself. He was very respectable. He said Mayweather handled his part and executed his portion of the negotiations perfectly. He said Pacquiao's an aggressive guy, so he got that going for him. And then he even gave credit to Mayweather, where in the past he might have thrown shade. He said Mayweather has the great defensive abilities, so he believes basically it'll be a good fight. Let me know what you guys think of the interview with Bob Arum. I'll try to put the link in the description. And what does this do for boxing? 300 million is a lot of money. He also says with that 300 million, he can imagine Mayweather will probably buy some new cars because he likes vehicles. He has a car fetish. And then he says he believes Manny Pacquiao will use a portion of his money to donate to charities throughout the Philippines and to help that cause as well. So I mean, this is all good stuff, and I like to see this level-headed version of Bob Arum. No bad mouthing, no bashing. All y'all motherfuckers are making a ton of money. Let's get it on. May 2nd, MGM, Las Vegas. Let's go. That's really all I gotta say. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.